Welcome back to another episode of Elevate Your Grind, brought to you by the Cannabis Lab. I am your host, Todd Rosales. This is our second show this week. I hope you guys enjoyed our little special segment yesterday on the upcoming Emerge Virtual Cannabis Conference. I am very excited to be a part of that conference again. Just did my pre-call for the beverages panel, some really exciting stuff for you all. And then tomorrow I will be helping put together the edibles panel. So both of those will be next week on the 15th and 16th. If you haven't checked it out, emergecanna.com. Tickets are $10. Come on. What else are you going to spend $10 on? I see you. You're spending $10 on stupid stuff. Go educate yourself, meet some people, have some fun. We've got some amazing C-Lab panels scheduled for you for next year coming up in 2021. The board just met. I got the report from Robert. It is still under lock and key, but very shortly I'll be announcing all those amazing panels for you for the 2021 calendar. If you want to be a part of it, join clab.com. That's where you're going to find everything C-Lab related. You'll actually find some episodes of the podcast there as well. Then, of course, all of our recorded content is on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/elevateyourgrind. If you want to take the podcast on the go with you, you're planning a road trip, you're traveling, you're at work, and you just don't want to do any work, check us out on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, anywhere you can find podcasts. We are there as well. Just search for Elevate Your Grind. We got one more show this week. Tomorrow, it actually fits in with this theme. So we've got Tom, I'm going to butcher his last name, Tom Gerbenstein from Tikkun Olam. He's going to be joining us. So, I mean, I kind of gave it away, but we have a guest from VidaCann today. So staying within that theme, really excited there. On that note, we have one more show this week. Next week, we're going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday again. We've got 3 great shows for you. We'll announce those next week, and they're all going to be at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time right here, facebook.com/cannabusiness group. So my guest today is probably one of the probably one of the youngest, if not the youngest, marketing director in probably the entire cannabis space. He is alumni of the great Florida State University. Go Noles, of course. And I'm really excited to talk to him. It is for one of the Florida MMTCs that I am not as familiar with because they just started expanding this way. So I'm really excited to learn more, really excited to learn about his marketing tactics. Please welcome the marketing director at VidaCann, Jeremy Guttveg. Jeremy, thank you for joining.
Thanks so much for having me, Todd.
Oh, absolutely, man. So, dude, I don't need to call out your age here, but I saw that you got the job when you're 22. So you're a little bit older than that. How do you feel, one of your first jobs out of college being right into the cannabis industry? Was this something that you wanted to do or just lucked out? Because I know you were big into music. I saw the video on your website, your own personal website. And I want to talk about that too, because you have an awesome logo, but why cannabis, man? How'd you end up here?
Yeah, I mean, it's, kind of happened by coincidence. It wasn't intentional by any means. And like you said, I'm a Florida State alumni and, I worked all through college and kind of started at a young age as well. So for me, this wasn't a new job or my first job by any means, but, it was new to me as far as the industry goes. And, I kind of just got lucky and I'm a big believer in, everything happens for a reason. And that's something that has kind of guided me through my journey as, so far in my career and, was lucky enough to kind of land this great opportunity at a very early age, like you said. And yeah, I mean, the way it happened was basically I was just graduating from school and things kind of aligned. I had met with Peyton Mosley, who is the vice president. And at the time they were looking for somebody to kind of start in the marketing department as a marketing manager. So that was my first position. And things just kind of worked out and we clicked right from the beginning and just had very similar mindset as far as where we saw the business going and the opportunities that we saw. And I think they saw a lot of value in, my visual outside of things as far as the creative marketing goes. And I think that was a big thing that they were lacking. So they, kind of saw the value in that. And especially being the age that I am, I think that they wanted somebody who was a little bit younger and had a different mindset. A lot of the guys are, older guys, I'd say, especially compared to my age. And I think that they needed somebody in that younger realm to kind of bring some new ideas to the table and change things up a bit. And things just worked out. And within 9 months of that first position, I was promoted to director. And from there, it's just been, a dream come true to be in the space.
That's awesome, man. You get to grow the company that way. And I agree that I think, looking at somebody younger for this industry is a good strategy. And I want to circle back to that because, as far as people growing up, looking what to do in life, I think you're a great example of how you can still be a true creative in the business world, right? Because, we're at a point in time with the internet and everything else where if you're a creative, it seems like the goal is to build your portfolio online and just kind of sit there. But I don't mean to say this in a bad way, essentially have a corporate job, but you still get to be that full creative that you have been, right? There's some admin work that comes with it, but you have a deep musical background, man. I saw on your website you had, your portfolio is very deep for someone of your age. The amount of work that you have on there is great. You have your own JG logo, which is badass as can be on there. And then you started in the music world, right? So, you're a hell of a drummer too. So give us a little bit about the background. How did you go from music and being a creative into realizing how to turn that into a corporate skill or a business skill, if you will?
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that was quite a journey, I'd say. I think I didn't have it all figured out by any means when came time to graduate. And it took me quite a while to figure out that marketing was where I was meant to be. And, as far as the music side goes, I had started at a very early age as a percussionist, as a drummer, was involved with a lot of music programs, went on to do a lot of different things with that and, independent groups and, travel the country and tons of things with that. And so I kind of explored that creative side early on and that somewhat transitioned into the marketing realm as well. And when I was probably in middle school, I'd say I picked up graphic design and learned that entirely on my own and just started to play around with that and, for various things. I think I actually started with gaming was where I really started to do some graphic work, just, form signatures and, different things in the gaming space as far as, like just different graphics. And I think that was, that's one community where graphic design really, for some reason, is really prominent. There's a lot of people that are big into the design stuff and video editing and montages. And we're seeing that industry is becoming just massive. And there's, a big importance on the creative side of marketing in that space. So I think I learned that a little bit from there. And that kind of transitioned as I grew up and to a freelance role. And I started to do a lot of different jobs for, local businesses and entrepreneurs and startup companies and just buddies and whatsoever. And then, when I got to college, I learned web design and I was, like I said, worked from a young age. So, I was always trying to figure out how I can make money and how I can, do things, but do it on my time and do it to kind of accommodate, my lifestyle. And so web design was one of those things that, I knew that the compensation was pretty high for the amount of time you had to put in. And for somebody who already had that kind of eye for design, I thought it would be something that would be pretty easy to pick up. And it ended up being a relatively simple process. And, with platforms like WordPress and Shopify and Wix and all those things, it's, I would recommend for anybody, whatever age to really look into that stuff. And I think it's a lot simpler to kind of learn than you may think. And the tools are just becoming more and more accessible. So, I learned that as well on my own and kind of adapted that into my freelance model and started to do websites for different clients and, combine the two. And at the time I was an accounting major, which is, completely far off from marketing, but I enjoyed it. And it, for whatever reason, I was decent at it. And I thought to myself, I'm good at it, but I don't think I could sit at a desk and play with numbers all day for the rest of my life. So, I kind of reevaluated and looked back into my past and saw that there was kind of this alignment with, everything I was doing was creative and had to do with marketing. And so, I was like, why not just major in marketing? So I made that switch pretty late into my college career. And luckily I was able to kind of get it in and I was able to make that work. And, the first thing I did once I switched my major was landed a great internship at Yamaha in California. And
Nice.
that kind of combined my passion for music with the graphic design and the marketing stuff. And so everything started to make more sense to me. And from that point, I knew that that was the right decision. And, and again, it led to this role at VidaCann. And so, I think that that was the right decision for me. And everything had kind of told me that marketing was where my skill set and where my creativity and all that had kind of, was meant to be.
That you're 100% right, man. I mean, as a creative, at least that's, how I'm looking at you. Accounting is the complete opposite of what you want to do, right? And I think we all some of us find that skill that we're good at, but we don't love doing, and then you get stuck doing it. So I'm glad you figured that out early in life. But fast forward to working with VidaCann, at such a young age, I almost put myself in the shoes of the hiring manager, looking at someone like you with a great portfolio. If you had that website that you have about yourself before, you certainly are more than just a kid in a nice suit with a resume, as a lot of people probably coming in for the job at your age would do. The advantage I see of hiring you is you have the experience, you have the great creativity, but I don't want to say you don't have bad habits, but you don't have a playbook that is tried and true that you're going to try to bring in the door to replicate, right? Whereas you hire someone later in life, they've been successful, they've done this before, they've adjusted for new technologies and everything else. But at the end of the day, in our industry, the channels in which we can market, the ways we can market, the words we can use are so restrictive that you really have to take your playbook, throw it out, and start from scratch, right? A lot of what we're doing in the cannabis space has to be organic, right? It's just what I've seen. So, tell us a little bit about the challenges that you face coming into VidaCann. Was there anything where you're like, we should do this? And someone's like, yep, can't do that. Oh, what about paid Facebook? Can't do that. Instagram, how were those initial thoughts figuring out the strategy for VidaCann with all the restrictions?
Yeah, I think, to your point about, the not having a playbook and all of that, I'd say that was almost an advantage in my case, in the sense that the person they hired is not stuck in their way and they're easily adaptable. So I think that was, an advantage for me is yeah, I'm new and I don't have this extensive history of, this marketing playbook, as you put it. But I think that I was so eager to kind of learn as I went. And I think a lot of people in the industry are experiencing that, and maybe not marketing, but, anything in the industry, because of the fact that it's still so young and so new. I think everybody is kind of experiencing that more or less in one way or another. And so for me, it was a lot of trial and error, but I also was very proactive in researching and understanding, these regulations. And we've had a lot of, issues with social media, especially like you said, and we've been kicked off. We've had our fair share of being removed from the platforms and starting from scratch. And, it's happened quite a few times. And it's something that we struggle with. And I think a lot of even big, massive companies have struggled with. And we've kind of just come right back and been able to recover quickly and learn from our mistakes and kind of adapted and adjusted and made it work. And I think now we have a much better understanding. And I think, we've been able to kind of share our experiences and learn from other experiences. And, all in all, it's been, it's been trouble. It's been difficult for sure. And I think any marketer in this industry will tell you it's not easy, and it's very different than any other industry. But, once you figure it out, I think it kind of makes sense. And as we move forward throughout, some of the regulations lifting, it seems to be a little bit easier. And I think some of these social media platforms are starting to kind of lax on their regulations and some of their policies. And we're starting to see it be treated for what it is. And that's, especially in some of these states where it is legal, whether it's medical or recreational. I think we're starting to see some of these social media platforms and advertising platforms and, all of that is starting to kind of understand the regulations and the landscape and adapt to that.
Yeah, I think it's actually going both ways. I think it's weird because some of the newer platforms like Facebook and Instagram and the social media platforms seem to be lightening up a little bit, whereas traditional mediums like billboards and print advertising, some of them are going the other direction. I mean, California just passed something where if it's a billboard on a major highway, it can't be cannabis anymore. And those were all over the place. So it's really interesting to see how this industry progresses. But, you have a unique challenge as well being here in the state of Florida. And I look at the Florida cannabis market, and it's unfortunately, to me, a market that is not allowed to evolve. And it's not because of the companies participating. You guys are all doing the best you can to do that. But because it is a medical state that's not it's not releasing any more licensing. It's not looking at breaking up vertical integration or not. It's just we're frozen in a state and time where we pass medical marijuana, and the companies like you are kind of forced to deal with that. Like, what is it going to look like going forward? So obviously, we all want Florida to go rec at some point, but right now, you're very much looking at a medical market that needs to figure out how do we market to recreational users in what could be a year from now, right? How do we take the branding we have now? How do we go from the packaging restrictions we have now to the future? And then even things as far as, I had another thought here as well. Oh yeah, right now the total addressable market for you guys is under 450,000 people. When you're looking to do your marketing, are you looking at the demographics of the state of Florida, or are we looking at the subset of people who have cards, and how do we target those folks?
Yeah, so that's a good point. That was one of the first things once I joined the company that was a challenge for us, and something that I took on was, when I first started, the company was very much positioned as a medical brand. They were based on the visuals. It was, blue and yellow, and it really looked like a typical pharmaceutical company, and the branding really represented that. The website had doctors, and it was just not, recreational at all. So what we did is kind of adapted and modified the brand to be a bit more of a wellness brand. So a combination of the two, so we can, obviously cater to the medical needs of the current market, but, understand that there is a future for recreation. And there's also, even in this current stage, there's a lot of customers who have more of a recreational preference. Even if they're a medical patient, they may want more of that recreational experience, so the newest strains, the highest THC, different concentrates, things like that. When you have, the customers who are true medical patients who, need consistency, and they need reliability, and they need, the capsules and tinctures and topicals, so we're doing our best. And I think as a market, I'm sure our competitors will say the same. They're doing their best to kind of accommodate everybody's needs. And I think, it's not so much that we're in a rush really to be recreational. I think it's got its pros and cons. I think there is some benefit to it taking a little bit of time. I think nobody has the perfect business. I don't think anybody has perfected their products 100% and has, the consistency and all of that. So I think that, this time that it's going to take to go recreational will give us the time that we all need to kind of perfect our businesses, perfect our products, and make sure once we go into that recreational mode, we're, able to accommodate that and kind of stay true and commit to that whole recreational aspect as well.
Very cool, man. So when you started with VidaCann, there was 4 stores. You got 17 now. You're settling in. You've helped them expand. You're doing a great job with the marketing. I'm loving the website, the way it looks now. Where do you get your inspiration for creating the brand image, right? The themes, all the creative that you do. Where is that coming from? What is the overall, I don't know enough about marketing to say this, but the overall theme or feeling that you're trying to evoke with VidaCann, where does that come from for you? What's the inspiration behind it?
We definitely look to a lot of, the West Coast. I think they're very much ahead as far as the marketing and the branding, and that's very competitive over there. So, we look to that and kind of aim to, replicate a lot of that. But for us as a company, we also, we look back to why we exist and who we are. And, one of the big things that we pride ourselves on is being, that Florida company that is 100% owned by Floridians. We're not, outside of Florida at all. We are not owned by any other large corporation. So we're really one of the few, if not the only ones that are left in Florida that are kind of that Florida company that's that was, bred and raised here. And so for us, we wanted to make sure that the branding really emphasized that and shows that. And so, we obviously wanted to make sure we're competitive and that our branding is on par and that we, portray, quality and premium products, but we wanted to make sure also that we show, that we are kind of that family environment and that, the way that we treat our employees, our customers, we have, I guess that sympathy and that empathy for our neighbors, because we all live in Florida. We are Floridians, and we're not some big corporation. And I think there is a big negative connotation with some of these big corporations, and I think that's something that we're trying to show, is that we kind of have that empathy for our customers and for a certain level of quality, and that's what we want to show in our branding.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I'm a big fan of true Florida cannabis. I'm a proud resident of the state. I wear a hat that has the state of Florida flag on it most of the time. So I'm glad to hear that. You're in a unique situation as well, being younger, because not only are you part of a startup, but you're also part of an interesting startup where you're in an industry where a lot of it is going to be market share. You're expanding rapidly. So although you're a startup, you almost have to grow into a corporation very fast, right? So I imagine at VidaCann, and we don't need to get into the specifics here, but I imagine part of what you guys do, and I think I read this in an article or an interview on you, is a lot of the money you guys make gets reinvested back into the company to grow and expand, because that's certainly a need. I imagine with a lot of that money needing to go into real estate and building out new retail locations and hiring bud tenders and education, all that stuff, that the marketing budget is not the most lucrative part of the budget. Do you find that you really have to stretch a dollar sometimes to make it work? And how do you get creative with that?
Absolutely. Yeah. I would say that is, if not the biggest struggle that we have as, marketing department is the funding and the resources compared to, those who are publicly traded or have kind of those big parent companies. For us, our money comes from what we make. So if we're not making money, we're not able to really fund the marketing like it needs to be funded. So, it's definitely a struggle. And I think, for us, we prioritize the quality of the products and the availability to the customers. And so a lot of the money that is being made is going right back into, like you said, the retail locations, going into our cultivation, and really marketing is put on the back burner a bit. But I think for, from a customer's perspective, I think that's important to know, that the money is going into the products. It's going into getting the products to you more so than us trying to advertise or promote or really sell the products. So for us, priority number one is making, the best quality products we can, getting those products out and available. And then, the last priority is really the marketing. And I think, from a business person mindset, it's difficult because obviously you need to be able to advertise and market and do all that to be able to sell the product. But I think, I guess it's important that we are prioritizing the product, the customer first above all else. And, I think, with our expansion that we've had and that we are going to have over the next year, we did announce a $25 million expansion plan, up till 2021. And again, that's all funded internally. There's no outside funding, no debt for that. So, and all of that money is going towards cultivation. It's going towards operations. So we'll triple or quadruple our cultivation space. Our stores will have over 35 locations. And, so that is all very important to us. And the more that we can get those stores open, the more products we can get out, we start making more money, then we can fund the marketing, then we can really expand and kind of prioritize the marketing.
So I imagine, with that being said, that organic marketing is very, very important to you.
Exactly. You nailed it. That's the most important thing for us, and social media has been huge for us. Local events, which obviously during these times is very tough, but that is one thing that we put a lot of emphasis on, and customer service and customer experience. And, overall, I think anything that we can do organically is obviously the best method for us. And it's proven well for us. But obviously, I think compared to some of, maybe the bigger dogs in Florida, we don't have the same recognition. And that's a direct reflection of the fact that, our budget is quite a bit smaller than I'd say a lot of our competitors. And, for us, again, it's more important that we're focused on the product and the core products, and that being, the cannabis and getting the stores out so we can, make sure we're available and accessible to all the patients who really need the products.
Very cool. One of my colleagues at work used to be a GM of one of your stores, and she's been saying nothing but great things about VidaCann since we've started working together. So I definitely need to go check out either the Deerfield or West Palm location and pick up some stuff. I'm excited to try it. It's interesting. We're getting to a point in time where some of these more national brands are coming into the state and partnering with folks like yourself to get their products here. And obviously, this is a true partnership. It's not like they're wholesaling product to you and then you're just marking it up and selling. They literally have to come in and give you their SOPs and trust you all to cultivate and make sure that it comes out properly. Beyond that part of the process, as far as like marketing and attention, how involved are the brands that you work with? Like, do you work with Stanley Brothers and Cocoon very often? Like, how is that relationship with you all and the brands that you're bringing into the state?
Yeah, Cocoon, I would say, is very involved. They've been great partners to us, and they provide a lot of value as the Stanley Brothers. But on a pure marketing standpoint, they've really invested a lot into the Florida market. And I'm sure when you talk to Tom, he'll say the same, and he'll kind of emphasize the level of work that they're putting into Florida. Stanley Brothers is also a great company, and we've done very well with them as well. They're a little bit less involved, and I think that may be because of the fact that Charlotte's Web is just really taking off, and their priorities might be on other things, on other markets.
Yeah.
And they're launching new product lines and things like that. But all in all, I think both brands have been really, really great, and they're both globally recognized and really, really prominent. And I think they've been a huge benefit for us, and have aided in the fact that our marketing budget is a little bit lower. So having these brands that are already recognized has kind of helped take some of that slack.
Very nice, man. Well, I've got one interesting question, and I think I got this one off your website, but this was really intriguing to me. So October 23rd in Broward County is Jeremy Guttveg Day. Can we talk about this? How does this work? How do you get your own day?
That one goes back to music. That was I was a part of the U.S. Army All-American Marching Band, and that was something that they had given me for that. And I would like to say I'm deserving of it, but I don't think I am. So, it's for me, I love to have that. It's obviously a conversation point, and something that I am appreciative of. And I wish I could help you out with getting your own.
Yeah, we need to have a Todd Rosales Day here in Palm Beach County, but hey, man, we should turn that into a VidaCann event for next year for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Very cool, man. Well, listen, you've been involved in scaling the company. Like I said, when you started, there were 4 stores. There's 17. You guys are doing really well. The expansion's going on. You've worked on things such as digital marketing, e-commerce, loyalty programs, etc. What so far, and I know it's a very young career with VidaCann, and it's a young company in general, but to this point, what is your proudest accomplishment with VidaCann? What is your most proud thing that you've worked on there?
That's a tough one. I'm
asking you who your favorite child is. It's always tough.
That's a tough one. I think as a whole, just the amount that we've accomplished with, the minimal resources and funding, like we said, that we've had, I think just as a department, we're very lean and mean. We have only a few people on the team. And I think that the hires that we've made and the people that are a part of this team are really strong and have, really been the big reason that this company has succeeded so far. And so I think that, ultimately it's as cliched as it is, it's a team effort. And I think that the team that we have has been great. And, that's, I think, the thing that I'm most proud of is being able to work with such great people that have the same vision and share the same passion and, are on the same goal. And we've been able to do a lot because of that.
Very cool, man. And then before I let you go, because we're getting towards the end here, when I go to Deerfield or West Palm, any product recommendations, any strain recommendations, what should I be trying here?
I
Now
think
I'm
any of
really
our
asking you to
vapes.
pick your favorite kids.
Uh, I think some of the top ones that I really like, if we're talking, well, I guess really anything. I think Kush Cake, Mandarin cookies, those two have been really great. Strawberry Cough is always a good one. Any of the Cocoon strains and Stanley Brothers products as well are great to try depending on your needs. But I know you'll hear a lot, especially when you talk to Tom about the Cocoon products. They're phenomenal products, and all the history and research that they have really kind of attests to that. So, those are absolutely worth giving a try. But yeah, I'd say the vapes are really great right now. Those have always been kind of our top seller and one of our, best products. And, everything else is also great. But, I think those are kind of those tops for me.
That's awesome, man. Well, I'm definitely going to check those out. And crap, I had one more question for you, but I forgot it again, which is not boding well for myself. Um, what was I going to say? The Cocoon. The problem is I was trying to look up something else while I was going to talk to you. So clearly I lost my train of thought, man. But I know exactly what it was. So obviously, we've been talking a little bit about this and everything that you're doing, but it's something that you guys are up for. And hey, man, your work has obviously been very good because you guys are up for the storefront brand of the year at AdCann. So I saw you posted on LinkedIn. Is the voting for that still live? People can still go?
Absolutely. I appreciate you plugging that for me. That is still
Of
up. The
course.
voting ends December 31st. So yeah, again, we're storefront brand of the year is the category we were nominated for. We're in the finals. So yeah, vote for us. That would be awesome. We appreciate that. We put a lot of work in to get recognized for that, and it means a lot to us. And we're excited about it.
Well, I hope everybody goes and they vote because, listen, he's been doing a great job. And hey, man, we want to make sure that you get recognized for your work and also bring that award home to the state of Florida. So appreciate your time, man. Thank you very much. Before I let you go, let's get all the social media handles out there, all the plugs. Let's get them before we say goodnight.
Awesome. Yeah. Everything is VidaCann Florida, except for Facebook. That was one of the ones that we had been kicked off a few times, and unfortunately, we're not able to use that handle anymore. So that one is Florida grown, Florida owned. But if you search VidaCann, it should come up. So VidaCann.com, you can purchase products directly online. Everything is, again, VidaCann Florida.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And thank you, everybody at home. Tune in tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. We've got Tom from Cocoon Alam. So we're going to learn more about VidaCann and their partners with Cocoon. We will see you tomorrow. This has been another episode of Elevate Your Grind. We're out.